comments and requests, and I will act on them. Please remember to follow Geography World channel on Instagram and Facebook using the link shown on the screen. Please remember to like, share with your friends, and subscribe. For person wishing to contact me privately, you may email me at geographyworld100@gmail.com. The link will be posted below. Hi guys, welcome back to Geography World. Today we're going to look at the CSEC Geography SBA. I'm going to give you some guidelines and tell you what is expected for each sections. I hope this video is helpful to you guys, as you should be almost at the end, trying to get the SBA completed so you can submit. So remember to like, share with your friends, and remember to subscribe for more videos. Alright, so let's get into it. What is the SBA? So your SBA, the Geography SBA, is a project which is no more than 1,000 words, and it contributes to 20% of your final exam grade. So the SBA is 20%, and the other two exams that you're gonna do, those will make up the 80% that is left. Now your SBA is basically a fieldwork activity that you need to undertake to learn about geo. Now let's talk about how we select topics. Now in order to do your SBA, you have to select a topic, right? Now a few pointers that I always share with my students is that you choose a topic that interests you, something that you love about geo. What could you study in your local area? Look at some of the challenges that your local area is facing. You could select something in that extent. Where exactly you will collect the information. Ensure that whichever topic you choose, you're able to collect information on it, and ensure you are able to tell how you will use the primary data, how will you collect the primary data. So the most two important one is that you select a topic that you like, and you ensure that you are able to collect data in that particular study area. So as it relates to topics, there are a wide array of topics that you can select from. You can select from the human or the physical parts of the syllabus. So a few of the topics that you can choose from the physical are like earthquakes, volcanoes, limestone, rivers, coast, flooding, hurricane, and the list goes on and on for the physical. As it relates to the human, a few that you can also choose from are like population, migration, urbanization. You can look at economic activities such as agriculture, food processing, and tourism. Now, after selecting a broad topic, we need to narrow it down to a question, right? So the title of your SBA must take the form of a natural or a human section, as I did mention earlier, right? And you must narrow it down to a question. Now your title will allow you to produce a question while carrying out the research. So the question that you have, the title will basically help to guide you as you carry out the study. And within your title, you need to select a study area. Okay, so some examples of titles are like, what are the causes and effects of urbanization on the town of Junction, St. Elizabeth, Jamaica? What are the major problems faced by the fishing industry in White House, Westmoreland, Jamaica? How does wave action contribute to the development of coastal landforms along the Parity coastline in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica? And what are the causes and effects of flooding on the town of Mandeville, Manchester, Jamaica? Now if you look at the titles that are here, you can see that all four are in the form of a question, and all four they have a specific community that they are in, which is the study area, the parish is being shown, as well as the territory. So it has to be in the form of a question, and it must show where the study is taking place. Once you have your title, then we can move on to look at the different sections or parts of the SBA. Now the first thing you need is your cover page. Now on your cover page, you must tell us the title of your study, and remember that the title of your study must be in the form of a question. We must see the name of the candidate, which is your name. They are looking for your candidate number, They're looking for the name of your school, they're looking for the school code, they're looking for the name of the territory, and the name of the territory is the country that you're from, the year of the examination, and your teacher's name. And you can always add a picture to make your project look bright. After your cover page, you're going to put your strategy sheet. So your strategy sheet is something that your teacher will give you, and you will need to fill it out. It looks similar to what is here. You're going to fill it out with the information, and you're going to put it directly behind the cover sheet. Now we move on to the sections that are marked. So the first section that is marked is your table of contents. I always tell my students the table of contents is the last thing that you do, because the page numbers might continue to change as your teacher gives you corrections. So you do the table of contents last. However, in your table of contents, the teacher should see your introduction, aim, location of study area, methodology, presentation, analysis and discussion of data, conclusion, bibliography, and your appendix. Now, in this section, you must ensure that the numbering is properly done, and that's the reason why we encourage students to do it at the end after everything has been finalized, so that the numbering is correct. If your one number is off, it means that you're gonna start losing marks. Please ensure that the numbering is correct. And this is how your table of contents should look, with all these headings and the numbering properly aligned, and that would be 1 mark. Next, you have your introduction, which is 2 marks. Now, with the introduction, as the name suggests, you're introducing your topic, you're introducing what you're studying. So I usually tell my students to introduce your topic by giving like the definition or a statement in the first paragraph. So if we're looking at pollution, you define what is pollution according to Knight and John 2024. Pollution is, right? That's in the first paragraph. You give a brief introduction as to what pollution is. And then in your second paragraph, this is where you're going to explain why you chose to study this topic and why you chose to study the topic within that study area. So why do you want to learn about the topic pollution? Is it that, and why are you studying pollution in that study area? So here you are given a clear overview with justification and narrowing the research to the study area. Your teacher must see why you chose to study the topic and why you chose the study area, and that is going to be 2 marks. After your introduction, we have your aim. Now the aim of the SBA is a statement made which you wish to test. Now your aim, it must have at least 2 descriptive words showing how you will collect the data and how you will present this data in order to answer the question or the problem or the title that you would have had. So how the information will be collected, you can use words such as identify, determine, find out, examine, investigate, observe. And then how the information will be presented, you can use words such as describe, explain, illustrate, discuss, compare. So a few examples would be like to identify, describe, and account for the features of erosion and deposition along the Funs Hill coastline in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, or to identify and explain the causes and consequences of coastal pollution in the Great Bay Area of St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. Once you use 1 word from collect, 1 from present, and you are adding your study area and the territory, then the 2 marks should be yours. All you need to do is ensure that it is in line, and you should get 2 marks for your aim. After your aim, we have the location of study area. Now your location of study area is all of 4 marks. Now with this 4 marks, this is how it is allocated. You have 2 maps that you will need to draw or sketch. So the first map is your territory map. This map shows the country that the study area will be done in. Now on this map, you must highlight the study area. So let's say you are studying pollution in Portland, right? The Portland, in a community in Portland. What you will need to do is get another map of Jamaica, look for Portland, and try to pinpoint where on the map the community is located, and use a symbol to identify the study area on the map, right? You must also show the names of all the parishes as well as the country's capital, and then your map must be neat as well. And then you must ensure that all elements of the map are there. So you must have your key, your scale, your title, your border. All the elements of the map must be there in order for you to get that 2 mark for your territory map. Then the second map is what we call the study area map. Now your study area map is only a map, it's a sketch map that is basically showing your study area. So let's say we're doing a study in the town of Mandeville, right? When I recommend students go on Google Earth and they pull up the area, so that aerial view of the area, so that they're able to better see how the roads are connected, where buildings are located, etc. So once you're able to draw the roads, you will now need to label the roads and put in certain sites, such as if there's a church. When your teacher looks at your map, they should be able to say, okay, so if I take this road, I can end up to that area. Your map should basically help your teachers to navigate the journey to your study area just by looking at your map. So ensure that once you put your maps in, it is properly labeled, right? So a lot of students don't label their study area maps, and that's that challenge. With your study area map, please ensure you label both main and minor roads. You include important sites so that it is easy to be read. And all maps must be neat, and this is how you will get your 4 maps. Now all maps that you have drawn must be drawn to scale, and that's how you have all your elements on the maps. The maps are drawn to scale, they are neatly done. 4 marks should be yours, and once the study area is also identified on both maps. We move on to the methodology. Now the methodology is 4 marks as well, and it's basically just a description of the step-by-step procedures that you will use to collect the data. So I always tell students to divide the methodology into 3 sections: the how, the when, and the where. Now the how, this is where you will explain how you collected the data, the procedures that you use. So how you can use, for it depending on the study that you're doing, you can use questionnaires, interviews, record sheets, you carry out measurements, you use line tests, quadrants. It depends on the study. So if you're doing a river study, we're expecting that you are going to go out, you're going to do depending on what kind of river study, you're going to do some form of field work measurement. You're going to look at the velocity of the river. You're going to look at a lot of things. If you're doing the coast, we expect that you're going to do field work. If you're going to do a topic, let's say population, we are expecting that you're going to carry your questionnaires or you're going to use interviews. So with that, the how, you tell us how you collected the information. If you use a questionnaire or an interview, you need to tell us how many residents participated in the data collecting process, and you need to also tell your teacher how you selected the residents. Is it that you put the numbers or the names of all the residents in a bag and you shake it up? The first 20 that you selected, they did it. or did you just go to random houses? You need to let them know how you selected the respondents. If you are doing a field study, you need to put the step-by-step procedures how you collected the data. All right, and then that's 2 marks. The how is the bigger one is 2 marks. When, date and time, the date and the time that the information was collected, and where, the community, parish, territory, where was the data collected. All right, and as it relates to the when, you must ensure that you collect the data within a 2 years period. So your study usually between your 4th and 5th year in high school, so it has to be within that time frame. All right, let's move on to presentation of data. So the presentation analysis and the presentation analysis of data, they are combined. So you create one document, so you add the presentation part into the document. So the reason for this is that there are 2 marks that is given for the integration of data and the charts, but as we go through, I'll show you how to do so. Now with the presentation of data, this is where you're going to use at least 2 different graphic illustrators to basically represent data that you collected in the fields. Now we talk about graphic illustrators, we're talking about like sketch maps, bar graphs, pie charts, histograms, photographs, tables, and other illustrations that are appropriate for your study. Now not all illustrators can and will be used in your study. You have to select the ones that are appropriate and correct for your study. Now if you select, we're dealing with population, and you did, let's say, a questionnaire, then you can use a histogram or bar charts to represent the data, or even a table. Now whichever illustration you use, you must ensure that it is properly labeled and titled. It should have a title to tell us what is represented in the graph. The x and the y axis, it must be properly labeled as well, and the percentage should be shown in the diagram. All right, so in the illustration, if you're using a bar chart, on the bars, the percentage, or however you work it, it must be shown on it. Photographs also should be properly. So the quality of data is 4 marks, and this is where they look to see if your information is accurate, appropriate, and relevant. Now my students, I always tell them the best way to achieve an 4 mark for the quality of data is to use information that is directly linked to your aim. So you're basically trying to answer your aim throughout this entire research. So let's say we're looking at the causes and effects of migration on the population of Malvern in St. Elizabeth. I always tell them, when you're creating your graphic illustration, you use you use cause and effect questions. Those are usually accurate, more appropriate, and usually more relevant to your study. So the questions in your questionnaires or your interviews where you have causes and effects, like what are the causes of migration, how does migration affect the community. Causes and effect questions, those are the questions that will help you to score a better mark on the quality of data. Once you're able to do that, then 4 marks should be yours. Now, so you are able to generate your 2 different types of illustrations, right? Now what you're gonna do is that you're gonna integrate your analysis and discussion into it. So you have this huge heading called presentation, analysis, and discussion of data, right? And then you start writing. So you start typing. You can probably start by talking about the problem in the community, right? And then you put your first graph to state that causes of pollution in the community includes, and then you go beneath that to explain what is in the graph and what the book says, because the analysis and discussion, the analysis is 10 marks. 8 of that marks is for your analysis and discussion, and this is usually a written account that should be clear, well organized, and it should follow a logical sequence. So your analysis and discussion is you answering your aim. Based on the research that was carried out, you're answering the question, you're answering your title, you're basically answering the question that you would have put forward. How you're telling us how does migration, what are the causes of migration and the consequences of migration in Malvern. How does pollution affect the resident? So you can start about telling us about the problem in the community. You can put one chart, one of your graphic organizer, then you explain, make it logical, right? Now you get 2 marks for integration and illustration. Integration means within your essay you integrate the illustration, the graphic illustrations, right? And then you can't just integrate them, you have to make reference to them. So after integrating them and you start, one of the major causes for migration in the community is due to the poverty level. Figure 1 above shows that 50% of the residents believe that they are living in poverty or living below the poverty line. That is you integrating your illustration into your analysis, and that would give you 2 additional marks. So in total that is 10 marks for the analysis and discussion. You got 4 marks for presentation of data, and you have 4 marks for the quality. Once you're able to do that, you should be very well on your way with your research. Then we have the conclusion. Now your conclusion is worth 4 marks, and your conclusion is just a summary of your main points that were made in your presentation of data and your analysis. So you're just summarizing what you would have said in your summary, in your summarizing what you would have said in your analysis and your presentation of data. It has to be related to your aim, and it should provide a succinct summary. So remember that in the conclusion you cannot add any form of new information. All you're doing is summarizing in 4 to 5 sentences what you would have explained in your presentation, analysis, and discussion of data. Once you're able to do that, that's 4 marks. Then you have your communication of information, and that is 4 marks. Now with that, the marks are split in 2. Communication in the sense that you have to ensure that your spelling, your grammar, and your expression is okay. So you have to go back through your study at the end and to double check to ensure that your grammar is okay and the spelling is okay. Once that is good, you have 2 marks there. Now depending on the geographic topic that you're studying, you will have certain geographic terms that your teacher or the examiner is looking for. So if you're looking at population or urbanization, any geographic topic, there are certain geographic terms that they're looking out for. So once you use those geographic jargons, then 2 marks again should be yours, which gives you a total of 4 marks for communication of information. And then the next thing that you need is your bibliography. Now your bibliography is a list of all the sources that you would have used, and you have to put it in alphabetical order. Now what you need to do is that you need to select one format for your bibliography and stick to it. So if you're using the MLA format, you have to use it for all your sources. If you're using the APA format, you have to use it for all your sources. Or you can just put it author's surname followed by the title of the book, and the title of the book should be underlined, the name of the publisher, the place of publication, and the date, and that should be in alphabetical order. when you're doing this, you need at least 3 up-to-date books. So try ensure you have 3 up-to-date books, and usually these are like books that were published within the last 5 years. And you can also reference the maps and the websites that you would have used, but they are looking for at least 3 relevant up-to-date books. So some students are going to ask, but I didn't use any book for your research. Yes, you did use information, right? If you go somewhere, you are able to find information. You are able to, even if you went on the net, you should be able, you have to get at least 3 books to use to help you with your research. Within your analysis and discussion, you can make reference to information that you get from secondary sources such as books. So this will help you to have sources for your bibliography, and your bibliography is 1 mark. You have to ensure that they follow the same format and that they are in alphabetical order in order to get the 1 mark for the bibliography. Now your appendix, you can have an appendix or appendices, and this is where you put like a copy of your questionnaire. Now if you use a questionnaire in observation or an interview, we must see a copy in your appendix, right? You can't just make reference to it in the methodology and not put it in the appendix. You lose marks for that. We must see a copy in your appendix or your appendices. You can put additional pictures, permission letters, anything else that you think will help your study. It goes in the appendices. Now that's your SBA in a nutshell. You can leave in the comment section if you need me to go over anything else as it relates to your SBAs. If you have any questions relating to your SBAs, you can leave it in the comment sections. Please share with your friends, share with your teachers, share with everybody so that they can get a good grade and we can help to increase the geography grade. Thank you for watching, guys. We are at the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and please remember to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your post notification bell in order to receive more videos like these. Leave comments below suggesting topics that you would want me to present on. In the comment section below, comment the name of your school and the territory for a shout out in my next video. Until then, bye.